On this episode of Eating Out with Eric and Steve.
She said, please, I don't care. As long as you're talking about me, it's good. She doesn't care at all.
That's so good.
And at the end, when I sing Thunderball, I sort of stand apart and two orbs that have been clenching in my ass kind of drop down.
People have shown me tattoos of my face on all parts of their bodies.
Who in the cast resented your direction?
My voice is wobbly at best, even when milked.
We're chewing the fat over this and that, saying things you wouldn't believe. We're swallowing, we're spitting, we're joking and we're kidding. We're eating out with Eric and Steve.
Hi, Stephen.
Oh, Eric, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing as I speak to you that we had a dinner party last night, and there was quite a bit of rosé, and I like what it does to my podcast voice.
It makes
like
it to kind of deep and gravelly and rich.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that it would be rosé that would do that. You'd think cigarettes, scotch. No, it's a nice, light, fruity rosé that gives me the sound I've always wanted to have in my 60 years.
Well, look, I think that it's something to take note of and try to do as much as possible. I mean, I think...
That's what my doctor said. He literally said that.
Cigarettes give you a manly, husky tone. It produces phlegm, and it's is an expectorant. I highly recommend them.
It's that line from Sleeper when the doctor says,
right.
it's tobacco. It's one of the healthiest things for your body.
That's right, shaking their head, the fools. Well, that's nice.
It is nice.
You don't need it. You don't need to have a party to have it. Just have it. Look, it's antioxidants. It's grapes, at least at some point. So
but also, I thought of it
breakfast.
as kind of rehearsal because for those tuning into our podcast for the first time, it is a party. It's a dinner party. This is what we do. Welcome back to Eating Out with Eric and Stephen. We don't just eat each other. We don't just eat alone with each other. We have incredible guests.
That would be the last episode when we consume each other.
We have incredible guests that join us, just like we were sitting in a restaurant.
We're using theater of the mind.
Yes.
Come sit down with us. Join us, won't you? Oh, Jesus Christ.
The battle.
Oh, I didn't know we had to dance.
Not only do you have to dance, you also have to have a beard. So you're out.
Hang on.
I'm sorry.
Just wait a second. I had just shaved.
We should have warned you. But clearly, Stephen and I lose. We were doing very well.
No.
But
No
if you-
one can touch testosterone Cranston.
anyone-
Cranstosterone.
Cranstosterone.
At home,
Testosterone.
you can't. You maybe you can hear it. Maybe that beard is so big that you can hear it. But Cranston wins. Let me introduce, folks, you to our distinguished dinner guests today. First of all, a woman that I have always wanted to work with, and I almost did, but Ty Burrell stole my part. I think a lot of us have said that. You may have first known her on a show that was happening at NBC when my show was happening, a little show called Ed, which she was fantastic on.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you fell in love with her in Happy Gilmore. But for sure, we all fell head over heels in love with her on Modern Family, 37 seasons of television. 6 Emmy nominations. She won twice, and there's no one like her, Julie Bowen. Welcome.
Oh, my God. That, you don't know how much I detest being complimented, but so I sat still through all of that, and thank you, Eric. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to this very odd festival of beards.
And also joining us is Bryan Cranston.
Yes.
Now,
thank you. Now let's get on with the show.
we'll be right back. No, I have to throw him. I have to tickle him a little bit. We know him. We love him. Bryan Cranston. He's sort of the patron saint of actors who, how can I put this? Who are just working and are still good people. He's
That's
a good
high praise.
He's a good person. Of course, we know him, we love him. He's got lots of awards, but also he's got depth and compassion. And as Julie said, so much testosterone that right now he's actually growing a 5th and 6th testicle. Somewhere in that beard. Bryan Cranston, welcome.
Hello, boys and girls.
Hello, Bryan. It's great to see you, man.
God,
It's been a
good
long
to
time.
see you guys too. It's been a while. Yeah,
It has been.
Thanks for joining us. As you know, we eat here. This is like as if we were eating together, which has always been my favorite thing about, particularly the theater. It doesn't happen a lot in television. Although I noticed, Julie, your cast constantly gets together and eats and has dinners. It's always on Instagram, which I think is fantastic.
Well, Sophia usually organizes it, and she is so Instagrammable at all times. Full hair and makeup when she wakes up in the morning, and then we just had Sarah Hyland's wedding, so everybody was very dressed. So we didn't mind it, but yeah, we eat like pigs a lot too, and don't photograph.
But that's that I love.
I saw you recently do a fantastic and hilarious, very loving imitation of Sophia.
Which she gives me, I have to say, a lot of people think you're not allowed to do that anymore. And I said, well, she said I can. So
That's right. You have permission. That's right.
She said, please, I don't care. As long as you're talking about me, it's good. She doesn't care at all.
That's so good.
That's very good.
We should have had you introduce Cranston, but as Sophia.
As Sophia.
How would that sound? How would that sound?
There is a man here. His name is Ryan.
Close enough.
She gets everyone's name wrong. She
Yeah.
went on Chelsea lately once and said, yes, Julie Rowan. Chelsea said, I think it's Julie Bowen. She goes, no, it's Julie Rowan. So she would say, Ryan, very good. He directed me. He's good.
He's good.
He's good. That's right, Bryan. You did direct. How many Modern Families did you direct when you had 5 minutes to yourself?
2. I directed 2 different episodes. Yeah, 2 different seasons. It was fun. What a
When
great
did you
group.
first start to direct? Were you directing on? Did you do anything on Breaking Bad?
Yeah, I directed.
Eventually did a bunch.
Yeah, did a bunch of those, and I started on Malcolm in the Middle many years ago. Did
I thought
9
that,
of
yeah.
those. Yeah,
9.
yeah, yeah.
God, I'm the only idiot actor on Modern Family that directed. Everybody else was too scared, and then I realized as I got into it that I was too stupid to be scared, and I should have been scared instead of blindly walking into it. But Bryan, you were instrumental in that. You were like, "What? What do you mean you haven't?" And we were over at Linwood's, and he said,
I remember that.
You got to just do it. Just do it, and
Just do it.
Just do
and
it.
you did.
And I did, but
And so, what was your experience like? Did you enjoy it?
I loved all of it except the part where I have to direct myself. I don't like that part.
Really?
That's not as much fun. I like
love
sitting
that.
there.
I love that part because I never disagree with me.
Really?
I find
It's
my
a love
direction.
fest.
Yeah, I find my direction very sensitive and just sort of right on the money every time.
Supportive. I think I'm too filled with self-doubt, so I'm like, somebody should be telling me what to do. So I did ask to direct episodes I wasn't heavily in because then it was easier. It's terrifying to direct my castmates who were geniuses.
But I mean, did you feel like you had to direct the other actors, or I mean, obviously by that point they know more or less what to do. But did you just say, just can you speed it up or anything? Or did you kind of did they allow you to?
Mostly are doing quicker, faster, funnier, more. But there are times when you're dealing with. And we were dealing with some of the younger kids. It was a big episode. My first episode was a big episode for Lily. She got her period in the episode.
Oh my God.
And it was like, oh my God, we have to treat her like an adult because we're talking about adult issues, but we've always treated her like a kid. And plus half of us, including me, I'm the worst. I was like, oh, we're saying the word period. And I was like, get over it. Come on. It's time to be a big girl. Cause I was raised very sort of conservatively.
Boy,
and,
this pizza's delicious, by the way. Keep going.
Yeah, get in there. Get in there.
Good.
So I needed to step
Very
up.
tomato-y.
Very tomato. I needed to step up and be a big girl.
Who resented you? Who in the cast resented your direction? Name them.
I don't know. I'm gonna pick Jesse because I know
Okay,
that
good.
he will never. I'm just gonna pick him because he doesn't.
He's
I
the
love him
go-to.
so much.
He's seething with bile, Jesse Tyler.
He's so nasty. I joked that he makes us. He wanted Tony And I gave him half of one of my Emmys as a wrap present because my kid had broken it. So I said, you always deserved this. And he gave me nothing when he got a Tony, and he's making us all call him Sir Jesse. And I'm like, I don't think that's how it goes.
He was great. He was great in that role. And on Broadway, saw him. It was terrific.
Well, you know a little something about Broadway, Mr.
A little something.
Mr.
Two Tonys.
Two Tonys.
Two, yes.
I have a question for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
What's it like winning an award?
This is a little awkward.
I really want to know.
Yeah,
No. This is, we're not we're not even
I'd like to know what it's like breaking an Emmy in half. How does that feel?
You'd have to ask my son, who has not an athletic soul, but he asked if he could golf the top. He was 6 at the time. He wanted to golf the ball out of, she's holding
out
it
of the
up.
wings.
And he has never hit the side of a barn. And yet this was the one time, because I just thought he's just going to whiff it. And it was, Tiger Woods could die for this shot. It was click, and this golden ball flew through the air. It was embarrassing, really, but that is, it gives that Emmy a very special meaning.
Yes, I love that Jesse has half of it.
Yeah, he's got the ball.
So where I was going to say, where do you keep your Emmys? I was going to say, where do you keep your awards? But Cranston has a room. He's like LeVar Burton. He's got a room for his Emmys.
Yeah.
But so I have one. I keep it on the piano in the living room, which is fine until Christmas. And then my wife's like, I'm going to move this because I'm putting Christmas stuff out. And I said, it's like an angel with wings. Why would that not be able to stay out? It's the one thing I have. Give that to me. You can decorate it if you want. You can put little balls on.
Put a little hat on it or something.
Yes, exactly.
I just play with mine like action figures.
Is one good and one evil?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Are the
there's
Tonys
several,
really talky?
The Tonys, they just don't shut up. The two of them, they're just blah, 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 blah. Look at me.
The Emmys are constantly renegotiating.
And looking in the mirror.
You guys, the lives you lead. Wow. One day. Well, actually, I have a Jewish Image Award, and
and quite a Jewish image. So it's a good thing.
What does that look like?
It's basically just a guy doing this, like, that's it. Okay.
He says, "Is it like an action figure that actually sighs?"
No,
it's an inaction figure.
It's austere. It's austere. It's just kind of like a brown. It's like a brown ingot.
It's called the ennui.
The ennui. That's right.
I have 6 ennuis myself.
6 ennuis.
I think I've never
That
counted.
explains it, though, Stevie, because I saw you perform at Les Girls 10 years ago or something.
Oh, wow.
Doing sort of a
This is a strip club?
It was a fundraiser. Yes, Brian. It was a fundraiser for breast cancer, and Stephen, I want to say you were in a jockstrap and like a Hasidic hat.
See, I was right.
What?
Doing what's the dancing called where you bend down? It's almost like Russian dancing, but then you wear the big Orthodox hat with it. You were doing this but
And
in
nothing else.
in
Just
a
the
jockstrap.
hat.
You were doing a song from Pippin, I remember.
I have a flower drum song. I have no memory of that at all.
I do.
Wearing
I
a
do.
jockstrap with a
Well,
Jewish
it was like
hat.
very small underwear.
Take it easy.
You had some payas, and you had and I thought Steven Weber's a giant wasp. Even back then, 10 years ago, and I was like, I don't think we're allowed to do that. Take the hat off. Take off the payas. But now I understand that you won a Jewish Image Award. So
I'm gonna have to go back. I don't think I won it for that. I think maybe I had it. It was suspended because of that. Because
They came
the
and
Jewish
they said-
image that should be projected was not jock straps and hats and squatting.
It didn't say Jewish good image.
That's right.
It was
Jewish bad image. That's hilarious. I must think on that. I was saying, oh, she's gonna point out one of the, Eric and I have done a couple of numbers that have been really catchy, and I did one years ago where I sang Thunderball, from the James Bond movie, and at the end And I'm standing there looking really good in this great black suit, and at the end when I sing Thunderball, I sort of stand apart in two orbs that have been clenching in my ass, kind of drop down like ugh, haha, big joke, haha. I was thinking, okay, that's where she'll go, but instead, you went to a place that I clearly have obliterated from my memory.
You really don't remember dancing? It was like maybe tighty whities. I just remember being shocked. I was like, wow.
Yeah, shocking.
And you have very nice legs.
Oh,
he does.
So
that's
good
true.
to me.
I'm still trying to get over the fact that you were helping to raise money for breast cancer by having 2 balls drop out of your ass.
Yeah.
I'm
Classy.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me tell you, Cranston. Don't tell me about classy, baby. The shit you've done.
That night is Lay Girls raises money for what is the name
National
of the
Breast Cancer Coalition.
It's the National Breast Cancer
The National
Coalition,
Breast Cancer
right.
Coalition, who've been doing this for so many years, and it's a great night if you're ever in Los Angeles. What was the one that we did? We did one. We took the song "Agony" from Into the Woods, but we rewrote the words to be the agony of having had a sitcom 20 years ago and nothing since. It's just the agony when you don't have a show, when the one that you had was a fuck of a long time ago.
Right. Now you're Bronson Pinchot.
Yeah, that's right. You said back and forth.
Who's
I
great?
used to be
Who's
Brian.
great?
I used to be Will. Now we're Bronson Pinchot.
Who's a great
We'll never
actor.
will.
He's great. He's great.
Plus, we got to wear tights. So let me ask you guys a question. Let's say it's New York, and we've just seen Brian in a show, and the 4 of us are going out to a restaurant. Where would it be? What's your go-to in New York?
Is it winter? I'm making winter sounds for New York.
Yes, it's
if
winter.
you want to set the mood.
It's winter, so we can't sit at a patio. We have to go.
That beard, I don't think, could take the summer heat in New York, by the way.
No,
Yeah.
man. I found a nest in there the other day.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
How long does it take for you to grow one of those things?
It was a week and a half.
Yeah, you're one of those guys. I hate them.
No, this is I did a play earlier this year in Los Angeles where I had a neat trim beard, and then that ended in March, and then I just grew it out. So three months before this gets to be as bushy as it is.
Yeah, I've had mine since March, but I just keep trimming it so I don't,
Look like me.
I don't look like you. So where was your favorite place to go? Do you often go out after a show, Brian, or do you go home and save your voice and be careful?
The last Broadway show I did was Network, and that was 3 years ago.
Amazing.
I went out one time after a show that I had a show the next day, and I as a policy, I just never did because I was just too tired and I had to conserve my energy and got a show the next day. Right. The only time I broke that was when Frank Langella called me and said, Elaine May wants to have dinner with you at Joe Allen's. Wow. And I go, let's go. Let's go talk to Elaine May and have some food and picking her brain. And it was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
pretty
amazing. No kidding. Although Joe Allen's the loudest of all restaurants. That's something you go there after the show and you're like, I desperately want to be here because it's legendary. But now I'm going to not.
And you were on voice rest for LBJ. I remember that. Like you had a little card, like a little chalkboard that you carried.
You remember that?
I remember you telling me about this, and I thought it was the most interesting. I want to do that in my life, but not because I'm doing a show. I just don't want to talk to anybody. I'm so sorry.
Voice rest. Holding up a sign.
Now this is an area that I'm fascinated always because I do love to do 8 shows a week in theory, but I do have a terror of losing one's voice, and so how was that scary day for day?
I was doing All the Way. It's a 3-hour play, Lyndon Johnson, and my character is on stage for all but maybe 4 or 5 minutes of it. And he's bombastic, he's screaming at the top of his lungs and crying. And it's a big, big character. And we did it out of town at Cambridge at
I saw it. That's
ART.
where I saw it. I saw it.
That's where you saw it.
Yeah.
And even that short run, I think it was about 8 weeks. I was starting to feel the hoarseness in my throat, and I thought, oh boy, what are we going to do when we get to Broadway? And it's got to go 6 months. And I happened to call the producer down there, Jeffrey Richards, and in Jeffrey's office was Audra McDonald.
Wow.
And I said, "Oh, put her on. Would you put her on?" And she was doing Porgy and Bess at the time. And I said, "Audra, how in the world are you able to do that? 8 performances a week, belting." And she goes, "Well, I went to my ear, nose, and throat. I think it was ear, nose, and throat. But she went to a doctor, and she's telling him, I'm starting to feel a little this and that. And he said, I'm writing you a prescription for Silent Mondays." And she smiled, and she goes, "No, I'm serious. There's no laughing, no talking, no whispering, no giggling, no nothing, no sounds emitted from your mouth on Monday, all day Monday. And you might be able to get through the run if you do that. I mean, shut it down."
Wow.
And so I thought, as a preemptive idea, I started doing that. And I did not talk on Mondays. I had a little whiteboard with me, as Julie said, and my wife and I are going for a walk, and I wrote, "Lunch?" holding up a sign, and I would send her little notes. And paparazzi actually caught us. I was passing my wife a note, and they were wondering what they were saying. "Oh, could this be a love note?"
on a whiteboard?
On a whiteboard.
It is kind of cute and sexy to pass each other notes at a certain point. Did Robin like this?
She did. It was. She liked me not talking for a full day.
Yeah, got to be great.
I don't know how to take that, but what I noticed is that not only did I save my vocal cords and my energy, but some of my sanity. So, we're so caught up with, we got to do this, we have to say this, we have to call them, we have to. And because you can't talk, I started shutting down some circuits and relaxing. So I'd go for a walk in Central Park, and I'd sit and look at birds and trees, and I think I can go home and take a nap. And it was like, wow, it really saved me.
It's accidentally meditative in a way.
Yeah.
It's like Tuesdays with Maury, but it's Silent Mondays
With Bryan.
It's like, look, we're all very lucky to be working and have worked, but I always feel guilty because there's a great degree of kind of passive time that we're not doing very much if we're sitting on a set or something like that. And this sounds like a real kind of patronizing lovey, but doing stuff in the theater is a different world. You really are working hard for 3+ hours. If you're doing a musical, it's like doing aerobics for 3.5 hours straight. You've got to work to keep weight on. You are sweating through clothes. You are really burning calories and straining muscles that you don't ordinarily use at that intensity during the day. I'll take my answer off the air.
Being the person who could never get cast in a play ever at any point, I will let you guys take the lead.
What? But that's
Nope.
Julie,
it's been asked.
I can't wait for you but you want to.
I wanted to desperately. I moved to New York after I went to Brown, and then I was doing acting classes and waiting tables and all the straight up, young actor stuff. And I studied in the summers. I'd save up my money, and I went to Shakespeare and Company for a summer, and I went to Bada in Oxford, and I could not. The only thing I could get cast in was a show that was playing in New Jersey's finest cafeterias, which was like an anti-drug like play in schools. And then I remember Michelle Pfeiffer doing Shakespeare in the Park.
Right.
And I don't remember what year this was, but I remember seeing the review, and Michelle Pfeiffer was everything. I mean, she was fucking movie star. And Frank Rich saying that her voice was wobbly at best, even when milked. I will never forget it. I'm like,
milked?
Milked. I don't even know what that means.
Mike? Maybe Mike.
Milked. Even when milked. And I thought, holy shit. It turns out that the theater is the most terrifying place in the entire world. And I was starting to get TV jobs at that point, and I kept thinking, no, I'm not going to leave it in New York. I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to break into the theater. And then you start making actual money. So I went to LA.
But now,
Yeah.
I think things would be a little different for you now.
Do you? Well, I don't know. My voice is wobbly at best, even when milked.
No, you can get a professional milker. You can get somebody to milk that voice.
Oh, yeah. Backstage, there'll be
Julie
a professional
Rowan.
milker.
That's right. I will milk your
Except
voice,
Mondays.
Julie Rowan.
You never milk your voice
no,
on Mondays.
it's
Do
no
not
milking
milk-
Mondays.
No.
It's no milking Mondays.
But you started in you did theater in high school. You
High
must
school,
have.
college, sure, but that wasn't. I wasn't doing the Steven Weber, the classic Weber 8, the aerobics class, fighting to keep the weight on, the lunging, the underwear, the payas. No, I was not. I did not ever have that
Get
experience.
that out of your head. What is everybody eating, by the way?
Yeah,
Whatever.
got
Brian,
this
you've been stuffing your
fantastic-
whole face the whole goddamn time. What are you doing, man?
I was told we were supposed
I
to
know.
eat during
I
this
know,
thing, so
but
I am.
take it easy, buddy.
Julie is the only one that's not eating.
Not a thing.
Well, because I ran in here I was in Santa Clarita. My son just started playing on a club soccer team, and today was like kickoff day.
and Santa
they
Clarita's 1,000 degrees.
It was 1,000 degrees at College of the Canyons, and we had to. They said it's going to be parents and kids game that we were going to play, and I thought they don't mean I have to actually play. I had to actually play, and so I got back and was sweating, jumped in the shower, grabbed a trusty Coke Zero, and completely ignored the part about the food. And maybe if I clap my hands, it'll appear.
Can you
Maybe
make
Brian-
believe you're eating? I mean, help us out here. It's called Eating Out with Eric and Steve.
That's
Yeah.
good.
A classic Ed O'Neill.
What is that?
He's never eaten on screen.
Is that right?
Never answer.
He's so good. He's like, guys, watch me. We call it the book of Ed. There's always like, why stand when you can sit? Why sit when you can lie down? Why lie down when you can be at home? Film the rehearsal. Never wear a sweater in the morning. You'll regret it in the afternoon. He's filled with actor's wisdom, and always start an eating scene with your fork in your mouth. So you're just pulling it out
genius.
and chewing air.
He's
the
not
man's-
wrong.
He is not wrong.
That's
and never wear a
hilarious.
sweater in the morning. You'll regret it in the afternoon.
That is true. Although if it's a zippy, if it's a little hoodie.
No, I
then
mean
that's-
for the
the
scene.
character.
Oh, for the
For a
scene.
scene.
Oh,
you don't
you're
want to
locked
get
in.
trapped
God,
in that.
so
yeah.
true.
He's like,
Eric,
you might be
God damn
chilly
it.
for an hour, but you'll thank me later.
I love to eat during scenes.
I too.
Yeah, but how do you manage that?
20
I-
takes
I-
later.
I masticate and I swallow.
It's like when you watch an old movie and they're all smoking. If you watch a Bogart movie and they're smoking
Right.
in on one side of it, they're smoking on the other side, they're smoking in the overs, they're smoking in the wide. They must have smoked 10 packs of cigarettes a day. So when
That's
you do
why
that
they
with
died
food,
at
That's what they
42.
did. That's what they all did then. That was just standard.
So, Brian, do you keep like a defecation bucket by your feet? So it allows you to eat?
No, I'm. My system is very protective of me.
What?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I never shit.
That was an amazing Bryan Cranston, by the way. I never shit.
I never shit. Secret of
He
success.
became Richard
Things
Nixon.
for
but-
weaklings.
Never shit.
I am the one who
photosynthetic.
I am the one who Walter
Julie
White.
Bowen for the win. I'm the one who shits.
I am the one. You think you're afraid of someone shitting on you? I am the one who shits.
Oh my God. Okay, but to that, what is it? Okay, so Brian, sorry to single you out, but you've become meme-worthy and iconic and all these other things. And again, it almost goes back to how I was describing you before, how you're still a grounded, nice guy. I mean, ordinarily, wouldn't that rocket anybody who's weak of will into trying to? What am I trying to say? We'll cut all that shit out
I
anyway.
know. Take your answer off.
I'll take my answer off. I'll take
Why
my
aren't you more of an
inarticulate-
asshole? Is what's
Why aren't you more of an asshole? No, but like, what is it like having yourself
To be nice?
in the Julie? Please, I'm really I'm struggling here.
podcasting here.
Let me get through with it. Oh, sorry. Just shot my pants. No. Well, you see so much of Breaking Bad in the cultural dialogue and in the landscape, and there's like a real life. There's an incredibly realistic version of your face, as Walter White in a mask that people can buy. There's cutouts of you and stencils of, you know what I'm saying? What time is
There's
it?
tattoos.
They're tiny vibrator covers of Walter White too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just, oh man. Ooh.
Oh no! Wow.
Oh no.
I'm the one who knocks at your back door.
I'm the one who knocks you up.
I'm the one who knocks you up. I mean, oh please, that'd be fantastic.
It's a great tagline.
Oh my God. I'm the one who knocks you up. Yeah, so please answer.
I've seen people have shown me tattoos of my face on all parts of their bodies, which is always strange. I have Aaron, Paul, and I have 2 statues now.
Right.
In Albuquerque.
Yeah.
On part of the tour. They're bronze. They're about 6 foot tall, 6'5".
I saw that picture.
Massive statues of our characters. And
So life size.
yeah, exactly, life size. It's weird. You take it. There's a part of me when we went to this ceremony, and you thank everybody, and there's a part of you that is tickled, and there's a part of you that's embarrassed and humbled and curious, and it's odd, and then you move on. Just go.
And then
about
somebody
your
got
business.
who got really upset? Was it the governor that said why do we have statues to meth makers?
Yeah, there were some
insane.
There was some Republican state senator, I think, and a conservative talk show host or something that said this is wrong. We're celebrating meth dealers. He said, and he even said we're literally celebrating meth dealers. And I go, well, you're appreciating a show that really stimulated the economy of that area, put a lot of people to work, and gave that state an industry.
Yeah.
And now it's a thriving place to go shoot films, and people are doing much, much better in the area.
And meth is really less expensive there now as a result.
Much less expensive.
So it's easily it's everywhere.
It's made better.
It's made
That's the
better.
important thing. It's made better. It's
Made
only
in-
the
that's
blue
right.
stuff.
Made in Albuquerque.
Also, I mean, when I started watching the show, my kid was, I don't know, 10, and it doesn't occur to me that a show like that seems so of the moment and so dangerous, something that I just, once I finally had discovered it, whisked through like so many of us did. It didn't occur to me that my son, when he got to a certain age, would discover it as well. And that was the first show when he hit about 18 a couple of years ago that suddenly we could talk about. We didn't watch it together, but we knew everything. And which was incredible. When I started to think about some of the stuff that was in Breaking Bad, I thought, oh Jesus, you were seeing some stuff pretty early. But then so we're up in Vancouver right now, and Michael McKean and his wife Annette O'Toole were in town, so we had them to dinner. And I said to my son, "Look, you're not going to know who this is, but Spinal Tap, does it mean anything to you?" And he said, "No, I've never seen it." I said, "Okay, well, I just said, please come and say hello." So he comes and says hello, and his eyes go crazy. And the next day he says, "You didn't tell me Chuck McGill was in the house. Why didn't you say Chuck McGill?"
Better call Saul's dad.
Yeah, like these kids are. It's an all generations phenomenon. Everything that started with Breaking Bad. So, be proud.
How old was your kid when he started watching it, Eric?
Probably 13 or something, but he's watching it on his laptop, 7 years ago.
Yeah, I made my kid watch it in the family room because I couldn't remember what was in it. He was watching it in his room. I'm like, I kind of feel like maybe there's, because he was 14 when he started watching it. And I kept getting so sucked in. And I was like, I could, there's episodes I know by the back and forth, but the one where Walter does the big change, where he lets Jane die.
Oh my God.
And that to me, and I was like, we are sitting down and we are watching this frame by frame. I made him stop and talk about every single scene. And then the next day I saw Aaron Paul in the elevator at my dermatologist with his new baby.
Oh my God.
And it was such a delightful thing to remember how nice you guys really are. Because you get used to seeing you on that screen. You were not good people.
Oh
no! Well, not on the Breaking
We're just
Bad.
misunderstood.
They were
that's all.
just drawn.
I don't know. You watched her choke to death in her own vomit.
Okay, and where's the bad part?
It could have been someone else's vomit, and that would be disgusting.
You're right. It's so much better.
So much better. I wanted to ask this because this is true of all of us. All four of us had a network sitcom very early, relatively early in our careers, that for lots of reasons, we had every reason to believe probably that what if that was it? You know what I mean? At the end of Ed, at the end of Malcolm in the Middle, at the end of Wings, at the end of Will and Grace, there was a feeling, I certainly had a feeling of like, oh God, I'm 42. What more is there? I hope there's more. And of course, all four of us have gone, and particularly you two have gone on to the things that defined you, not those shows as much. But did you have a moment when you finished that first big show of thinking, what if that was my time at bat?
My mother still tells me to take a picture every time she sees like a trailer door or a set chair that with my name. You better take a picture because this isn't going to last. And she does not mean the show. She means you're fucking lucky. Appreciate it because it's all going on.
Right.
She also said the other day, we had lunch. She goes, "Isn't it wonderful? We've been at this table for 2 hours and no one's recognized you. Isn't it great?" I know what she meant. What she meant is that like we can enjoy lunch. But I was like just sitting there going, so to your point, I was raised with this idea that you are lucky as shit and it's all going away. There's never going to be another job. So yes, Ed was my last job. Boston Legal was my last job. Modern Family was my last job. Happy Gilmore was my last job. Every job is my last.
Yeah. My wife gets very tired of me feeling that way, but it's like, it's real. It's real.
It is.
I mean, and if it wasn't real, if you believed that everything after that was going to be gravy, I think it'd be weird. But
I don't know. I'm not much of a worrier. I don't worry about things in life. I just kind of take it as it comes, and have faith. And I have faith that something's going to happen. I wasn't so young. I was 40 or almost 40 when I got Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, wow. Right.
So I was working as an actor since 25 years old and just, making my nut, doing, I got a series. Oh, it canceled. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a pilot canceled. The usual actor life. And then I tested for 3 different shows that year that Malcolm happened. And I was down to 3 guys to get. So I could have gotten one of those jobs, and neither one of those other 2 pilots, one at NBC, one at Fox, didn't sell. They both were shot and didn't sell, and Malcolm was the one that I got, and it sold, and it went on. So I tell young actors this all the time. There's an element that you just have to let go. It's out of your hands. The X factor is luck. You have to have a dose of luck to have a career. And luck can come at any time. And I tell them that not as a discouragement, but to encourage them to say, stick with it. Hang in there. It can turn on a dime for you. You just have to have the faith.
Yeah, that's also why you're so nice. You didn't get famous until you were, you were a household face until you were 40.
And you were a working actor for a long time.
Yeah,
I think
that's a long time.
That makes a difference. I really think it does. Some people can experience huge fame and massive celebrity at an early age, and for doing things that, we might not necessarily think are that expansive, whether it's being an influencer or somebody who does unboxing videos or whatever the hell it is, where it's become ubiquitous, that kind of celebrity, and that can really warp a person. It's that's what I kind of was getting at when I tried to say that you were the patron saint, Bryan, of a certain kind of an actor, a person who's worked hard and didn't have to make it to the extent that you have and are continuing, but did and still retained kind of a grounded sense of who you are, in a way, your mortality, as an actor and as a person. So it's something that we're almost programmed to forget.
I think a lot of it had to do with age. I really do, because I was content with my life. My wife and I both were working actors. We had our little house. We had our baby. And it was like, okay, you're working more than I am. All right, I'll do the shopping and I'll do. It was a real teamwork situation. And had Malcolm never hit, we would have been fine. I would have been doing something else. And, it's just the way it goes. And it's the same thing with Breaking Bad. Malcolm finished 7 seasons. Fox told us, keep the sets up. We might do an 8th season. We're all keeping our fingers crossed. We're having a blast. This would be great. Let's do another one. Come May, they do their upfronts, and they said, no, we had a great pilot season. Thank you, but we're not going to renew it. Oh, shit. I bump into Jason Alexander at a charity event, and he says, you want to do a play? I said, yes. We do a play at the Geffen. This is the summer of 06.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get a call from my agent saying, do you remember doing an X-Files, 8-9 years ago, and Vince Gilligan was the writer? Do you remember him? I go, nope. He says, well, he wants to see you for this thing called Breaking Bad. I go, what's that? She goes, well, it's pretty good script. So I read the script, and it was like, oh my God, this is phenomenal. And he told me in that audition, well, it was a meeting. I didn't read. And he said, I want to turn this guy from Mr. Chips to Scarface. I want to change the character. And I thought about it a second. I said, Vince, no one's ever done that. The characters, television has always been about stasis, about things affecting a character, but they don't actually change the character. And he said, I know they probably won't let me do it, but I'd like to try. And so he's my champion to get the role because I did this X-Files that he remembered. We do it, and we shot the pilot in February and March of 07. Had Malcolm in the Middle been picked up for another year, someone else, Steven Weber, would be Walter White. Right now.
Fucking A, right.
Well, I love what you were saying. That's exactly it about the X factor of luck, which I think actors so often think of as it's just me against him. One of us is getting his part, and I hate that guy if he gets the part. It has nothing to do with it. It's about which network executive picks up the show or when the show gets picked up. There's so many other X factors that have nothing to do with you, which is why I've always tried to not look at other actors as competition, because whatever they're going to do in the room, it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. One of us is
exactly right.
You know what I mean? It's unrelated. Let's just support each other. But I did the pilot of the Jenny McCarthy show in 1997 and thought it was going to run forever. And I got let go after the pilot because they discontinued the character. And if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have had Will. And literally, Warren Littlefield said to me after we shot the pilot of Will and Grace, he said, "Aren't you glad I fired you?" Because there was simply it just wouldn't have worked out. Somebody else would have got it. And same thing, I did a pilot for Fox, I guess, 6 years ago. And if that had gone, I wouldn't have done this other show. So everything for a reason, and we don't always know what those reasons are, but it's all.
I think it's really interesting though that because we also we think about Bryan going from Malcolm in the Middle to Breaking Bad like it was some sort of seamless transition. The idea, I remember going, wait, the dad from Malcolm in the Middle is going to be like making meth?
Right.
Like that was also a thing that somebody believed you could do it, and it happened to be the show creator. But like right now, I get offered mom roles.
Right.
There's mom at the zoo. There's mom in space. There's mom in an alleyway. There's drunk mom. Like it's just mom. Like it's a mom and that's it. And to have broken out of that is a big deal.
Are you able to be able to say no? Do you feel empowered to say no?
Oh yes. Yes, I would rather live well below my means and nub my nickels together at night to keep me warm than do jobs that I hate myself for. I'd rather say no and just hang out with my kids than do something that's really boring. Unless, of course, there's a lot of money. And then
that never hurts.
There's the element of compromise.
Then I'm probably going to take it. Mom in space sounds pretty good if it's like...
Mom in an alley in space. But I mean, there's a degree of compromise that you make, especially when you're starting out. You know, there's some people that say, just take every job. I've heard a lot of older actors say, just take every job, say yes to everything, say yes to everything. But, that can be really destructive after a while. But yeah, I imagine, Julie, people in some respects don't have imagination. They see you as, they're comfortable with what you've done for the last, dozen years, and they want to piggyback on that. But you, as an artist, want to try something different. I mean, you have different voices.
Yeah, and I'm not a natural. I mean, I was so lucky, but really the writing was easy breezy. But before that, I was always the one who cried.
Right.
Like I was they were like bring in the tears, and Ed was a dramedy. I mean, it was an hour long, which is crazy. And I got to, there was lots of drama in that, as well as some comedy. But yeah, I'd like to do some drama again. That'd be fun.
You need to grow that beard.
I
just grow it. Let it
grow the beard.
Let it grow.
I'm writing a circus show. You'd be perfect for it.
Yeah.
So what is the part that you would love? I mean, not the specifically, but what is the kind of character you'd love to tackle next, whether it be television or just an indie film?
I mean, I feel like it's somebody from like a different, like the 70s or something, like sort of my mom's heyday, where they all had Carlton 100s and there was no tomorrow, and frosted lipstick and that kind of like, the ice storm, basically.
Yes.
I'd like to do. That's what I would
writing
like.
it down
The ice storm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, write it. I'm
Yes.
not even being facetious. That's a.
I don't know. That's like saying sing
know.
it.
I know.
I can't. I'm. You
I
you
get
work
it.
with people. Do you write, Stephen?
I have in the past, and then sometimes it's been good, but I haven't lately because it's goddamned hard.
It's hard, but you're a good writer.
Well, thanks.
I've read some of the material. It's really good.
We've read each other's stuff, but thanks. But it requires the most, at least for me, of me. And acting is a little easier. There's more distractions. I'm always present in my own head. I can't distract from myself if I'm trying to write something. And also I have the usual kind of self-loathings that I'll never be able to capture the type of nuance or depth that this subject would demand or comedy,
the character
whatever.
is self-loathing, though.
I see where you're
then you
going.
got
I
it.
see
Then you
where you're
got it.
going with this.
It's also hard to sell something you've written. It's just hard to find. It's hard to find the money to make it. It's hard to find the executives that will get behind it. It's not just about writing.
Yeah, I mean that's a double-edged sword of like years ago. Didn't Coppola say at the onset of the video camera? He said, "Now everyone will be a movie maker. Everybody will be able to make their own films." And at first you think, "Wow, that's amazing." And then years later I thought, it's not so good because now everybody can do it. And then where's the speciality? You don't need to be nuanced necessarily. I mean, obviously you still do if you want it to break through, but I don't know. There's something like that requires a lot of discipline. And in the past I've written, but maybe I've gotten a little discouraged. I don't know.
How long have you felt this way, Steve?
Since I was 3.
To be fair, at 3 you were a terrible writer.
I was.
I've read some of that stuff.
And my crayons kept breaking.
Mom cat ball.
It was very
Good soup,
derivative.
hot. I used to write comedy things, but then I tried to write some dark personal stuff, and I still have a couple of ideas out there, but I realize that this is a very fast-moving business. It's almost like, I'm 61 now, and I feel like I'm still in there, but God damn it, there's people on this rushing river who are able to navigate the currents with more agility than I currently have. And so my sensibilities are a little older. I don't know if they're sellable to a certain person, a certain person that wants to sell that stuff. And yet there's so much material out there that people see. And then, I don't know. I have a couple of ideas, but I don't know. I'm going to pitch them to you right now. Okay, so listen.
Okay.
Here we go. Ready?
Something's wrong with my microphone. I can't-
Okay, so.
Do you suffer from the delusion, and it's my delusion, so I'm going to put it on you, Stephen, or anybody here has tried to write, that writing is the highest, hardest art form, in our business, like more so than acting, because I've been able to act and been paid for it, so therefore it doesn't count somehow. But that writing is something that seems unscalable.
Writing to me is obviously what we all require. We need great writers. But I think the hardest thing is what Vince Gilligan did, which was to write a series, to write a story that you somehow figure out how to make last for 62 hours or something. I think that is where I feel I come up with ideas all the time for this would be a great pilot. And then what happens? Well, I don't know. Someone else will write that stuff. That's what you have writers' rooms for. You can think of characters and ideas, but to really think of a story that is a great series, I think is the height of it.
Shonda Rhimes, Carl Reiner. These people are.
You always mention those two together like they're an item.
They're a couple.
Yeah.
Shonda Rhimer.
Brian, please.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just writing. I'm
we'll
throwing
cut that
out
too.
pitches, baby.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Hey, could we cut those? Cut all of them out.
We can't cut we can't cut every time you want to cut. Stephen. We'll have a
Every time
5-minute
gonna,
podcast.
But we're not going to cut. We're just going to put a beep sound over it. We're just going to bleep everything.
Well, we all know as actors that the writing really is the foundation of everything that inspires us. It resonates. We get inspired. We are better actors. The hardest work that we've ever had to do is on poorly written material.
Right.
Yeah.
When you look at that and you go, how on earth am I going to make anything honest out of this? Yeah. It's so convoluted and choppy or redundant, or it's like, oh my God. When it's beautiful writing, oh my God, it just flows. Guidepost after guidepost, and it's easier to memorize when it's written well.
Yeah.
It just is a blessing. And
the badly written ones are always the ones where you have the strict script supervisor who's just like, no, you said you didn't. It's and not if, and I'm like, I know, but the whole sentence is terrible. So I'm trying to do whatever I can here.
You didn't say the comma.
That's right.
Why are you worried about the comma? This doesn't make any sense. It's
Well, but on the other hand,
nonsense.
I worked with Aaron Sorkin, and everybody really worked to get every ellipsis and every comma and everything.
But
and
he deserves it.
He deserves it. Correct. He deserved it. He was like Odette's. He was like he really worked hard to write that stuff, which speaks to the idea of me that I feel like I'm an interloper. I'm just an actor. What the fuck do I know about writing? And I'm so risk averse or conflict averse that I would hate a writer to say, here's another actor who thinks you can write.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you have the insecurity too.
But as an actor, doesn't it take the onus off your thoughts of writing? It's like, well, this is not my day job, so I can just kind of go in there and step in and see how it goes for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they look at you like if you started as a writer and then you did some acting roles, sort of like a BJ Novak.
Right.
That's one thing, or Mindy Kaling. And they go, oh, okay, that's allowed. But to go in the other direction it's very challenging because let's face it, they think we're idiots.
Well, but here, one of the most important things that happened in the first 6 episodes of Will and Grace was that Deborah and I particularly would speak up, and we weren't pitching jokes, but we would speak up about the scene feels weird because of this. And every time Max and David would look at us like, "What? Why are the actors talking?" And it was and it was Jimmy Burrows who took them aside and said, "You got 4 very smart actors here. Listen to them." And they did, and it became so much more collaborative. And again, we were not pitching funny as much as we were just saying this moment feels forced.
Logic and
character logic, emotional logic, or stuff like we're revisiting something here. We've done this. How do we make this moment different? And to their credit, they were for the next 8 seasons. They were fantastic. They understood that we're only trying to help, and it's
was Modern
all for
Family
one.
in any sense similarly collaborative? Like, was it? Did they allow input, or did they rather accept input? And did they begin to write for the characters specifically? Write for the actors, rather.
By the way, I know that you're friends with all those people.
Yes. No, I don't know what you're talking about. And I just want to. No.
This is
It's not like they asked me to
loaded
ask you. They didn't ask
No
me to
one's-
ask
no
you.
one's gonna hear this.
Very loaded.
I'm not going to tell them.
there was if we had everything as written, if it was done as written, and we had plenty of time, which we often did, we could pitch alts or do alts. I would maybe twice a season email, 2 or 3 times a season, email a writer of an episode and say, would it be terribly awful if I switched the for the an or something? But it was ultimately, as we all know, once you have something in the can that's the way that it's written or the way that the director or the writer wants it, then all the rest of that, sure, you can try and beat it, but you know that you're fighting an uphill battle because you're not allowed in the editing room.
Right.
So that is when they're like, just do one this way. I mean, I do remember getting in a fight one time about just exactly that. One of our producer writers said, just say it.
Oh,
we were like,
helpful.
we gotten to the point where we were past lunch and the crew was getting angry. We were on a location and he said, just say it once. And we can use all the other, and I said, I can't just say it once because then you'll use it. Right. And respectfully, this is a conversation about me saying a line that I'm very deeply uncomfortable with. And I've brought this up several times. Yeah, we've got 20 minutes into lunch. Just say the line. Ooh. And it was the only time I can think of on set on Modern Family when I burst into tears. Because I was not, because I am such a crew girl and I'm like a team player. I'm like, let's go to lunch. But I knew that if it's just like, just show your tits just once. We're not going to use it. I'm not going to show my tits. First of all, they're sad and they're in my sock. And I've breastfed a lot of babies. And if I pull them out, they're just going to depress the fuck out of you. Number 2, you just never, you don't do it. You don't give it, you don't do anything on film that you aren't comfortable with.
I agree.
Living forever.
I agree. And we had this conversation, maybe it was on this podcast, Stephen, about the idea of these directors that would do 70 takes, the Kubricks and stuff, that would build it, and you trust them because they're Stanley Kubrick, and that's a level of trust that you don't often get to have when you're starting out in television because you're a guest star and they're going to give you 2 takes. So right. I would always go in and I'm going to do this exactly the way I intended, and if I had a pitch about a word, I wouldn't risk making it look like it was a mistake. I would pitch it and try my best to get it sold because you don't get enough opportunities to make it yours.
And you don't want to screw around and then risk somebody not being. You're usually in very, very good hands. All of us have been in very good hands. But sometimes you're not in the best hands. Somebody's dropping the ball. Somebody's not in the edit, whatever. And you realize they've used a take or made you look a certain way. So you got to protect your character and your performance. And
those are lessons that you learn along the way. Yeah. As you're coming up, you realize, I felt something very strongly and I didn't speak up. And I got burned by it. Yeah. So you learn not to do that. Yeah. And I think a lot of actors get a bad rep for being difficult if they speak up. And to me, that's not difficult at all. Difficult is the person who doesn't want to come out of their trailer. Difficult is the one who doesn't arrive sober or doesn't know their lines or is disrespectful to other people. That's difficult.
Agreed.
Someone was saying I think that's difficult. And I said, we had Cloris Leachman on Malcolm in the Middle, and I heard she was difficult. I heard she was difficult. I said, no. She was loaded for bear. She would come in with a plethora of ideas. What about this? What about this? What about this? So did she need to be managed and directed? And yes, she did. Well, that's a great idea, but we can't use that now difficult was, I agree. My ears burst when I hear that. And so to me, Julie, that is not being difficult. It is defending your character. And by the way, you knew your character better than any of those people.
Right.
And you need to defend that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're younger and you are sort of scared and it is fun. I wish I could be a young actor right now. Because when I'm 52. When I was coming up, there was definitely
You are not.
Yes, I am. And there was definitely the idea of like, skimpy, scanty, push them up, stick them out, like that there was an idea that you could sort of, if not sleep your way to the middle, at least sort of flirt your way to the middle of the bottom. Like there was just that you were trading on some sort of something sexual somewhere, a promise of it, a hint of it. And I think my understanding is that is going on a lot less. And that must be really exciting for young women right now.
Stephen had to do that a lot when he was coming up, too. He had to
hence
compromise
the tighty whities.
Yes, and my Jewish Image Award tells the story. I mean, but even what we're talking about, just to extend it a little bit, is that I still feel that, we're all part of the big machine. At the end of the day, we're all, unless we are writing and directing and acting and producing, and I can see the necessity of that, not just out of a sense of control, for ego, but creative control. I have to just let go. I mean, I'm doing a show now that I really love being on, but I rarely watch because there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and if I think I'm doing something that I feel really good about, there's no guarantee that it's going to end up in the cut. And I don't want to be disappointed, and that's something that I've learned over the years. Maybe it's not particularly positive. I've learned that I'm going to be disappointed, so I don't watch myself. I don't mean it to sound like that, but on the other hand, if I'm to stay sane and hopeful about myself as a person, especially in this industry, I don't want to be distracted by the fact that I really don't have that much power. I only have power over the performance I give for myself and with my fellow actors, and then, then it goes into the Edward Scissorhands editing school.
What do you tell younger actors, though, when I always, my parents were always sending me, their second cousin once removed, nephews, sisters, brother, whatever. They're coming out here and they want advice, or help, God forbid, because you can't give help. You can sort of give advice, and the only thing I've ever said to anybody is make sure that you're always doing something else. Like don't just act, right. Go to school, expand your horizons, because if you're just acting, you're dull as fuck. But and I wish that I had gone in. I remember the night I was taking a writing class, and the night of our first table read for Modern Family, I was pregnant as fuck, and it was my birthday, and so they rolled in a cake, and everyone's like, "What are you gonna do for your birthday?" And I barely know these people; I've just met them, but I know they're smart. I'd never met Chris Lloyd or Steve Levitan. I'd never met any of these people, and the Chris and Steve came over to me and they said, "So what are you gonna do tonight for your birthday? Happy birthday!" And I could not fucking nut up and just say I have a writing class. I said, "Oh, I have a class." And they go, "Oh, really? What?" And I said, "Intro to Buddhism."
Intro to Buddhism.
Yeah.
Well, it was a class I had taken a few years before, so I was like, it's good. The best lie is close to the truth. Intro to Buddhism. I couldn't just say I have a brain and different hopes and dreams.
Wow.
It felt like somehow showing them a pap smear or something. It just felt dirty.
So in Buddhism, it's all about letting go, isn't it? I mean, so are you pretty good at that of letting go of disappointments and things?
Where I got obsessed with Buddhism, the part that really caught me was dukkha and the endless cycle of longing and that sort of snake eating its tail. And that is... I never could figure out. I finally got that concept, and I'm like, yes, that's it. That's where we are all the time. Just it constantly eating our own tail and going in circles of wanting more. I've never figured out how you break the cycle of dukkha because I probably didn't take regular Buddhism. Just intro, Bryan.
Maybe dukkha laps would have helped.
I quit right at dukkha, and then I left. That's right.
You just saw the trailer.
That's what I was trying to do with my jockstrap Jewish payas dance. Eating my own snake.
Yes, the waiter's here with the check. We love you both. And we're so freaking grateful that you joined. Not just us, but together. This was awesome.
Thank you. It was just really thoughtful. I thought that it took a turn into the very real, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's going to be cut out. Don't worry. Brian is on the floor.
Just all the frivolity.